You got a starting one? So this is like a lithography roller, and it's leather, and it has a grain. It acts like little fingers that can grab the ink. And it actually turns out that if you're rolling toward yourself, you lays it down flat, and then the little fingers can pull ink off the stone in case you ink it too much. That's why you want a leather roller. It's the best one you can possibly have. Some places, only a few in the world, have a leather roller for every color, one for blue, one for red, right? You can never use solvent on them. But when you're getting the old ink out, you find out which direction the grain is. One direction it looks fuzzy. See how that means the grain is up. But you don't want to start inking it with the grain up because it'll take too much ink. So we scrape it this way with this rounded tool all the way around. This one's working better. And then when we're done, we lay it back down and a little more ink comes out. I'm trying to make sure we don't cut this roller. Now this is a better one, isn't it?
Yeah.
But so we scrape the whole thing, but we can't leave it like that. If it ever dries, it'll just be a ruined roller. Like this might as well be plastic, and it's worth nothing. Whereas this one's worth like $400. And even when you get a new one, it's not good for like 4 months because the leather comes out. So now it's conditioned, they call it. And it's a perfect roller. We have to keep it that way. You have to scrape it about every 6 months. All right, putting ink on it. When you get a little ink on this, lithography ink is so stiff, they call it a bead of ink. So this is the bead. See where it's there? If I go in here again, it says 2 beads of ink.
Yeah.
So starting with just one, but I will get another one. But you notice if I don't rotate the roller, I'll never get this even. So I have to do like, call it the motorcycle. You know, like rotate it each time. There's also a line here where there's leather sewed together. You have to move that around too so it doesn't show up on the final prints. So even when you're printing, you go like forward, back, rotate, forward, back, rotate. Okay, so I'm gonna get another bead of ink. And then I'm gonna rotate every time. So if 2 becomes 4, becomes 8, becomes 16, and that's how it gets even. And you're allowed to roll the other way if the glass is not even. Yeah, we want a little more ink. Right now we're just trying to get some ink on here so it won't dry out before we use it again for printing. Because after you scrape it, you just can't leave it like that. It might get completely dry and be ruined. This ink, and it'll be covered with foil, it could take 6 months to dry. Really, it's thick when it's thick. Because it goes really deep in here, more than on a print. This is enough ink for 10 prints or so, but I'm only putting it on the roller, all of it. In lithography, when you're printing, you usually just take maybe 2 beads of ink. So the bead thing we were talking about is important. If you have too much ink, your image will get too dark. So you take 1 extra bead for every print, so it uses the same amount onto your stone each time. Right. See, this is almost rolled up. See how much evener it looks now?
Yeah.
I'm kind of pushing on the sides and stuff, making sure that the fresh wet ink gets in the whole roller everywhere. Okay, that's good. Then I'd bring this roller over to start printing on the print.
Okay.
And I'm not, you know, if I roll here, like let's count to 10. 1, 2. I'm rotating every time, even if you don't notice it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's called a charge. It's different than a bead. I can use these 2 beads of ink several times, maybe 5 times. So I could go print 1 print and come back and charge the roller, print another print. But eventually, I'll take another bead of ink. And that's to print some more prints, so that this doesn't get too low.
Oh, okay.
So 1 bead of ink every 4 or 5 prints. Depends on how black your image is. If it's very dark, it makes more beads of ink. Okay, good.